The more optimistic we are, we increase the chances of a positive outcome by guaranteeing a positive income. We'd all like a positive income. The kind that cannot be taken away. The real positive income. So let's play a game called Tigger or Eeyore. Let's practice. Everyone yell out Tigger. Ready? Tigger! Now yell out Eeyore! Eeyore! I'm going to set up a scenario I'm going to set up a scenario, and I'm going to say, who said? And once I finish saying who said, you all need to yell out Tigger or Eeyore. Here we go. You get stuck in a traffic jam with another person. Who says, well, it'll just give us some time to catch up. Tigger. Who says, this always happens to me. I hate it. I don't have time for this. Eeyore. Okay, you go to a picnic. It starts to rain. Who says, this always happens to me. Now it's ruined. Eeyore. Who says it's good for the rain in the grass? It must be good for me. Tigger. Okay, you go to an elevator. It's broken. Who says, I could use the exercise anyway? Tigger. Who says, this always happens to me. I don't have time for this. Eeyore. You go to a restaurant because it's your favorite restaurant, because they serve your favorite dish and you've been looking forward to it all day long, and they tell you they're out. Who says, well, I'll just try something new. I might like it better. Tigger. Who says, this always happens to me. Let's go somewhere else. Eeyore. Okay, the stock market crashes. Who says, I'm sure there's a lesson in this for all of us. Tigger. Who says, this always happens to me. We're going to hell in a handbasket. Eeyore. Okay, you have a 5.5-hour layover. Who says, oh God, a 5.5-hour layover, whoopee. Eeyore. Who says, oh God, a 5.5-hour layover, whoopee. The same information, right? Unbiased, neutral information going into the optic prism of our mind. Do you have the nerve to see the good? Do you see what I'm saying? We decide. We decide. Each situation, the question is, what are we going to be? My guess is we can all do better. Now, I've had some pretty long layovers in my life. I've had some 40-plus hour layovers in my life. But this 5.5-hour layover is based on a true, actual incident that happened with my son and I, a 5.5-hour layover in Houston. Now, layover is often interpreted, that information comes off the screen layover. That light goes through in completely neutral waves of energy. They hit the prism of our optic nerve prism, and out comes Eeyore. A 5.5-hour layover. I'd rather have a 5.5-hour hangover. That same energy, that same information comes, that light moves through the air, hits Tigger in the eyes, and Tigger says, a 5.5-hour layover? That sounds like a sleepover. With interesting people from all around the world. Doing interesting things. But here's the truth, and this is something I believe wholeheartedly with all of my heart, all of my being. And that is this. This life is a layover. It is a short layover at the International Cosmic Airport of planet Earth. So what's it going to be? Tigger or Eeyore? It's a terminal airport, by the way. So what's it going to be? Tigger or Eeyore? It is a true port of air that we float on. When CJ and I travel together, we are a couple of Tiggers looking for joy, on a mission for joy. So we got up at 3:45 in the morning. We arrived in Houston at like 9 or 10, I can't quite remember. And we were schlepping our luggage through, and we got off the airplane, boing, boing, boing. And there's people everywhere, and it's just a huge airport, and we're ready for lunch. Our system's all messed up. We're ready for lunch. It's like 10 in the morning. So we go to the food court, and it's all packed, boing, boing, boing. We get some pizza, and I sit down, and I think, a 5.5-hour layover. Oh, this could be awesome. This could be a sleepover. They were having a heat wave. It was February, and it was almost 90 degrees. in Texas. Normally it's more like in the mid-50s or something in February, maybe 60 at the most, but they were having a heat wave. So I thought in my mind, oh my gosh, I'll bet you 5.5 hours, I bet we could find a park nearby somewhere. We'd catch a bus or a cab or something, and I bet there's like a lake somewhere with palm trees swaying in the wind and lawn chairs and grass and sand, and we could just, and I saw I could taste it. So this woman next to me who had a uniform on, worked for the airline, I said, excuse me, my son and I have a 5.5 hour layover. Is there a park somewhere nearby, like with a lake, maybe palm trees, grass, sand, lawn chairs? She said, oh my gosh, no, there's nothing like that anywhere. For at least 100 miles. You have to go through Houston to the other side of Houston, and you might find it, but that's over 100 miles. By the time you get there, you came back, you'd miss your flight. So I said, thank you, but that's not the information I wanted. So we keep boing and boing and boing. We're boing and we're bouncing down, and CJ goes, what are we doing there? I said, we're looking for a park with water and palm trees, and boing and boing and lawn chairs and grass and sand. So pretty soon we bounced along, we saw this big giant poster of Hawaii, and it had palm trees and lawn chairs and sand. I said, look, we found our park. And CJ goes, yay, boing, boing, boing. And then we came up to this group of 15 or 20 people who work for the airline in uniforms. Excuse me, do you work here? My son and I have a 5.5 hour layover. We're looking for a park. We're wondering, is there a park nearby with water and palm trees and grass and sand? And we have 5 more hours left. They said, no, you'd have to go all the way through Houston. It's over 100 miles. You spend all this money. By the time you got there, you have to come back. You'd miss your flight. Thank you. Boing, 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 boing. Pretty soon we took a little break on a bench and we just sat there. And after about 5 minutes, I said to CJ, let's go. He said, where? I said, I don't know. He said, okay. Boing, boing, boing. We came up to the tram. There's a huge, this place is huge. I said, you want to go for a tram ride? He said, sure. So we bounced on the tram, boing. We played the leaning game. You know, when the tram takes off, you can break gravity, lean forward. Tram stops, you lean back. First time we didn't lean back in time, so but after 10 minutes of randomly going around here in the airport, we got pretty good at it. People came in and out, we would lean and go forward. This kind of thing that we don't do when his mother's with us. So we got to really take advantage of it. You know, just falling over, luggage flowing down. Get the luggage, CJ, let's start over. So after 10 minutes, we got pretty good at it. And then all of a sudden it came up, the information came up on the screen on the tram, and the light came through the optic nerve, the prism of my mind. It said the Marriott Hotel. And I thought, well, you want to go to the Marriott Hotel? Sure. So boing, boing, boing. We get to the Marriott Hotel. You want to go on an elevator ride? Sure. Boing, 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 boing. We get the elevator. Here comes the manager of the Marriott. He gets on the elevator with us. We don't even push the button. We're not going anywhere. We're just boinging. So he pushes the top thing. We start going up, and the manager's in front of me. I can't see behind him. We go up, 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 up. We come to the top. I can't see. CJ's to the left. The door's open. The manager's in front of me. CJ looks over at me and he goes, Dad, we found the park. I looked around the manager. I looked out and it was like, they turned the roof of the Marriott into an oasis. Palm trees were swaying in the wind. Sand, grass, pool, jacuzzi. So my friend, and it was 90 degrees out. And so CJ looks up at the manager the whole time. He goes, "Can we play in your park?" And he looks at the two of us Tiggers. What can you say, man? So he goes, "Why not?" Or something like that. So the two of us put our bathing suits on. We took 5 jacuzzis. We went swimming. We took naps on lawn chairs under palm trees. We played in the sand. We played in the grass. There's tropical plants everywhere, while people walked below our very feet, telling us nothing like this existed for over 100 miles. People were, lying down with their carry-on luggage in corners and getting dirty, and we were you're getting virgin this, drinking virgin that, just having a great time. It was a 10-minute tram ride away. So what's it going to be? Tigger or Eeyore? Now I have bounced through a whole lot of, you need to know this, I've bounced through a whole lot of airports in my life. That was my first hole-in-one. But would I have ever gotten a hole-in-one had I not been bouncing looking for it? And if we hadn't found it, guess what? We were having a blast anyway. Doesn't matter. Optimism is defined as this: a tendency to expect the best possible outcome or dwell on the most hopeful aspects of any situation. That's how we see the possibility. Otherwise, we're not looking for it. We don't see it. But it's always there, underneath the surface. Winston Churchill said this: the pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. And what a great time it is to be optimistic. There hasn't been a better time to be optimistic in a long time. There's a place in downtown Portland called the Silver Lining. It's a store called the Silver Lining. It's a pawn shop. And it has been kind of scraping by for many, many years, just barely getting by. But they always saw the bright side. They always saw the silver lining. But with the stock market crash, the silver lining is going gangbusters. They're exploding. The silver lining has never been bigger. It's a metaphor for all of us. It's a truth and a metaphor. It's literal and metaphorical. The silver lining has never been bigger. And the reason, so why is the silver lining going gangbusters? Because people are actually getting rid of things they couldn't afford in the first place. They're getting rid of stuff that they're realizing now can't bring them happiness. And so they're turning it back in. During a recession, historically speaking, people have smoked less, drank less, lost weight, and spent more time with loved ones. This is true. It's a reminder to come back together to what truly matters in this life. And I'm going to do a whole service on it, but I just wanted to touch on it a little bit. It's an incredible time to be optimistic. We're going to have new leadership soon, and it doesn't matter who wins. What matters is that we do what we think is best on this side. But once the decision is made, then we trust it's in divine order. And we be optimistic. I'm optimistic. I believe that everything that's happening right now in this country and around the world, the wars, the stock market crash, is serving to wake us up. I believe in America. I believe in what we believe in. Freedom, justice, liberty, truth. And I think that everything that's happening is helping us remember what we really stand for and bringing us back to what that really means inside of us. Not outside, but inside of us. I'm optimistic. I believe in the human race. I think the whole human race is raising up right now. I think it's all changing. There's a quantum shift. If we're optimistic, we can see it and we can call it forth. Therefore, I'm optimistic. We raised $3,000 last Sunday for children in Zimbabwe. I'm optimistic. It's a great time. Let's use that superpower. We can make a difference. So what's it going to be? Tigger? Or is it going to be Eeyore? I suggest that when the light enters our eyes, to the optic prism of our being, on this layover at the airport of planet Earth, that when it hits the prism of our mind, I suggest we bounce. The Tigger in me, behold, sees, and knows. The Tigger in you.